Greetings, Rigil Agateiades here, and Merry Christmas! It's Christmas Day, and I wish you all a nice and warm festive season this winter, and perhaps a better internet than this guy while you're staying cozy. Of course, for a video on Christmas Day, we have to get onto the most Christmassy suit in Battle Operations 2, and my choice this year is the 500 cost general type, Zssa Sleeves type. Now, if you think carefully about it, this suit is as Christmassy as a mobile suit can get. If you squint your eyes a little, it looks just like a Christmas tree with all the decorations on it. ZSSA-nta Claus also leaves gifts in your stockings and can even make you roasted turkey. To top it off, it is called the Sleeves type, and it is indeed very green. I hope all of this is enough to convince you that this suit is the moving embodiment of Christmas. And even if you don't get that, do not worry, because this Zssa is here to make sure no Grinch can ruin Christmas. This Zssa, just like the normal Zssa, is famous for its incredible stopping power. While it no longer comes with the giant sleigh on its back, and hence doesn't come with the truckloads of gifts, it still carries plenty of weapons with loads of stagger accumulation, so it can put any naughty boy in his place. The main weapon of Zssa-nta Claus is the sawed-off shotgun. Same sawed-off shotgun as the Duelist, so you know how much of a menace that is. 15 pellets of 17% stagger makes it stop even the toughest of suits, as long as you're close enough. And next on the gift list is the arsenal of missiles. Chain explosion missiles can make a wall of explosions to stop advancing enemies, while the 11-tube incendiary missiles do 1500 fixed damage to make sure your turkey is perfectly tender. And when it's too close, you even have the diffusion beam cannon. As if the sawed-off shotgun isn't enough, this red beam is also a shotgun for 6 pellets of 35. Force out an evasion with the first shotgun, and the second can open them up again for a good down attack. Try to force the Dowas into a bad position afterwards by jumping down. Would have worked if he was alone, but unfortunately, that's very much not the case. First to respawn, and we start by facing enemies down the long straight. Fire up the oven with the incendiary missiles, and we find 2 hits for 3000 damage in the bag. Then we swap to the only other weapon that has some decent range, the Zssa beam machine gun. Fires in 5 round bursts for 10% stagger per hit, so 100% stagger in just 2 trigger pulls. And as if that's not enough stagger accumulation, next on the list are the twin 30mm Vulcans, which also staggers in around a second or two. Just how much stagger accumulation do you need to keep Christmas safe? This does come with a problem though. Despite all the decorations on the Christmas tree, there's not a single normal stagger. This gives it a really hard time against enemies with damage control, which Santa's sleigh just happened to come with. With damage control level 2, the Memphis Heavy takes 160% stagger to stop. We can stop it with our shotgun, but that's not the range you'll find yourself at. And to add to the problem, we actually don't have emergency evasion either. So once we're staggered, it's pretty much the end of the season. While this Zssa doesn't have emergency evasion, what it does come with is both maneuver armor and damage control. That means this Christmas tree is very hard to stop once it starts falling on your head. Very powerful when combined with the spread beam that can be fired on thrusters. But that takes us back to the problem of having no normal staggers at all. Because accumulated staggers have a hidden cooldown, you can't use another accumulated stagger without giving a short window for your enemy to retaliate. So having no normal staggers not only makes us struggle against damage control, but it also means we can't chain staggers together by ourselves. That is a huge problem when trying to get downs with your melee attacks, as it almost guarantees an opening for your enemies to use their evasion. As a result, just like the normal support type Zssa, the Christmas version doesn't like being alone either. With no emergency evasion or any normal stagger, the risk is simply too high to do anything on its own. With lower defense than average, there's also no way it can survive long enough for anyone to save it once you get caught. All you can do is to pray that the extra large shield does its job. Instead, this Zssa does its best simply by laying down layers of defense for the team, building a wall of explosions that the enemy can't get through. And out of all the tools on the Christmas Zssa, the strongest defensive tool is the gifts you stuff into stockings. The chain explosion missiles, as they call it, keeps exploding at where it hits for around 3 whole seconds. Once again, tremendous stagger accumulation of 50% per tick. So once you put it down, no one's going through them while they burn as bright and red as a lit fireplace. Too slow for direct hits, but put it down on places where you don't want the enemy to reach beforehand and it can reliably hold them off. The naughty kids did not spawn until the last 30 seconds, but it doesn't matter since we've protected Christmas for sure. We tried to pre-place the gifts but just weren't fast enough. More than enough incendiaries to roast the turkey though. Add in the beam machine gun and the Dowas is almost cooked. But so are we. Is it just me or is this a bit déjà vu? Nothing we can do against so many enemies at once other than run. Thrusters full out and our damage control plus maneuver armor keeps us running. But our suit itself isn't holding up that well. Large shield keeps our 27 health points alive and we are literally saved by the bell. That was probably the closest end I've ever had. If our Doga shield decoration wasn't extra large, this Christmas tree would have been blown to smithereens. While this suit has unrivaled stagger accumulation potential, its lack of emergency evasions, or even just a normal stagger in general, makes it a really challenging suit to use. But if your team actually works together, ZSSA-nta Claus and his gifts can easily make sure no raid type can ruin your team formation. Oh, I forgot to mention one thing. This was a mission reward suit, so if you missed it quite a while ago, you might have to ask the real Santa for this one. But a bit late to tell you that, isn't it? That's it from me today. Wish you a merry and a warm Christmas and the latest.